Oh, do you know what time it is, Benji? It's time to put King
What time is
Kohli
it?
in the title of our video. Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. Me and Benji today on slightly village setups, admittedly. Benji's camera looking awful, my audio terrible. But what was brilliant was the batting of Rajasthan and RCB to defeat Sunrisers Hyderabad
Indeed.
and Mumbai Indians, respectively, and by quite a considerable margin. So the first one we're going to talk
Indeed.
about is Rajasthan versus Sunrisers, because it was I'm not sure I can remember a game where it looked like two teams were playing on in completely different locations to the same degree that game was, because Rajasthan got off to an absolute flyer, didn't they?
Oh, I mean, Josh Butler today, striking at nearly 250, hits a 22 ball 50, which was just fantastic until eventually he got cleaned up by Fazal Faruqi, who I will say had a very good game today.
Yeah, I thought he was
I think he bowled. I think he was, for me, he was a bit expensive, but I think he was pick of the bowlers for me for Rajasthan personally, just by picking up the big wickets.
Sunrisers.
But yes, for Sunrisers, that's a great point. But yeah, it did look. It was two different surfaces. I'm a bit annoyed that you are calling me out for my camera, by the way, because this is the normal camera that I have at home as well. I've just taken it with me, so yeah, I feel a bit slighted there. It's just the lighting, but as you say, it did seem that they were on different surfaces. I mean, Yashavi Jaiswal, Sanju Samson, and Josh Butler all picking up very handy 50s. And then I'd say cameos from the rest of them, with the exception of probably Devdutt Padikkal, who didn't have his day and was just cleaned up by that raw pace of Umran Malik. But yeah, Shimron Hetmar at the end as well, just coming in and just smashing it around to get the first over 200 score of the IPL this year was really impressive.
Yeah.
What did you make of the bowling today of Sunrisers, particularly the spinners?
Spinners wise, it was a bit of a mixed bag. Washington Sundar got targeted really, so there was never really chance for him to settle. I was kind of surprised that they never bowled Abhishek Sharma, because I personally think he's pretty good as a bowler. Adil Rashid looked good. He got hit for a bit of the sort of towards the end of his spell, but I thought he looked the most dangerous, really. But yeah, it wasn't really a spinner's day necessarily. Well, until the second innings.
Well, yeah.
But looking at, for me, best bowler for Sunrisers was Natarajan, and he is somebody that is the key to their death bowling as well. Because his first over wasn't very good. He went for 17 or something. But yeah, really dragged it back, bowled brilliantly for the next two, and to some degree restricted Rajasthan. Nobody else was really able to do it. Umran Malik is somebody that I think is just going to blow hot and cold. Like he's a bit like Mark Wood in the early days, where he's got that raw pace, so he will either blow through blow through batters, or he will just go for runs, because every single mistake he makes will get punished all the way to the boundary. What were your thoughts on Sunrisers batting? Because I mean, there's a lot of very, very talented players there. We both put Sunrisers at the very top in our predictions, because if you start off with Abhishek, Agarwal, Chapathi, Brook, Sundar, Phillips, and Samad, you expect to get some runs. But between them, they made what was that, 41 or 49? And Abdul Samad got 32 at a run a ball, but pretty shocking from the top six, wasn't it?
I think with Sunrisers is they're still waiting for a few players, aren't they? Like they're still waiting for Aidan Markram to get back, who you'd expect will move into that top of the order slot alongside Mike Agarwal. I think Harry Brook today was the big sort of let down for them, because there's been so much hype built up around Brook, and he's just not performed. What I find is quite funny is that, with the exception of Sam Curran, the most expensive people that went in the auction, being Harry Brook, Cameron Green, which we'll come on to, and Ben Stokes, all haven't really scored runs in their first few games. That's not to write it off. It's a long tournament. There's still a lot of cricket to come, and I'm sure that we'll see Harry Brook play a match-winning innings at some point, because he is that class of exciting player. They just got outdone though by the bowling of Rajasthan. Trent Boult looked phenomenal, and I have to say that Jason Holder catch to dismiss Rahul Tripathi was something special. Full stretch. I know the man's like 6'12", but full stretch to his left and being able to pouch it with one hand was really impressive. And then, I think it was a good use of the impact player, getting Abdul Samad in to just lengthen that batting lineup a little bit. Abdul Samad, who we know is a really good batter, he's performed well in the past, but they were just restricted today, and I think it was just really tight, clean bowling from Rajasthan, until, bless him, Navdeep Saini, who came on as an impact player in the 11th. What did you think of that?
Impact players seem to be having an impact in every game, just sometimes negative impacts, which I quite like. I think it's quite funny. It almost adds pressure onto them, because like, you've been subbed in for this one purpose, and if you don't do it, then you look like a bit of a prat. And Navdeep Saini, that happened. I've got to say though, the other bowlers, I feel like the spirit of Zach is here right now, and he's saying, bowlers win you tournaments. And that's the exact sentiment, isn't it? Where like Trent Boult, straight off the bat, like in that, was it first over that he got Abhishek and Rahul Tripathi? So that was, got them off to almost a win straight away. But then Yuzvendra Chahal, oh my goodness, he is brilliant, isn't he? Like I don't know how he hasn't translated it consistently to the international stage in his career. That's something that still bewilders me. But in the IPL, Yuzi Chahal is like, he's got to be a Hall of Famer at this point. He is absolutely unstoppable. And 4 wickets, getting Brook, Agarwal, Adil Rashid, who was actually looking pretty good, and Bhuvi going at 4.25. That's outstanding. And not much more to be said about that game, other than don't extrapolate. If you're Sunrisers fans, don't lose hope. Don't say, oh, this is gonna happen, we're gonna lose. And if you're Rajasthan, don't get carried away. Though I think Rajasthan and Sunrisers are 2 of the top teams. But one of the other top teams we'll go on to now, Royal Challengers Bangalore, because basically what we said would happen happened in this game. In the prediction, I'd mentioned that RCB's death bowling didn't look that good. The rest of the team looks brilliant. And Mumbai, we said, looked confused. They looked like you just can't get a balanced side out of Mumbai. And that is exactly what we saw. Because and we were both laughing at this kind of stat, where in the first 4 overs, 33 crore rupees worth of player were dismissed, and between them they scored 16 runs off 27 balls. It's so bad. So not the best display from Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan, and Cameron Green. Cameron Green, should we just dwell on him a little bit? Because
we can,
he was bought for a massive amount of money, and he's never actually, now his stats don't show that he is a good T20 player. I get that he played that one good knock against India, or it might have been 2 against India. Do you think it was recency bias that got Cameron Green the contract?
Look, I think with Cameron Green, he's been a player that sort of, in a similar vein to Harry Brook, has burst onto the scene in the last sort of year, 2 years. Like, we saw him, how good he's been at Test match. And from that, he's made his way into the ODI and the T20 international teams, both for Australia. He's become that key international player for Australia, which has made him a big ticket buy in these overseas leagues. And I think with Cameron Green, he's not played as much domestic cricket as some of the other players that we see. So I don't think the stats speak for the quality of player that Cameron Green is. I think he's one of those strange players where the stats do lie. Because normally the stats don't lie, but I think in this case the stats do lie. I mean, in T20I for Cameron Green, which arguably is more difficult um, a more difficult setting, he strikes at 173. So in his 8 ODI, his 8 T20Is, he has got a fantastic strike rate, and it's sort of his T20 batting that I think is stronger. As a bowler, yes, I agree, he struggles somewhat. Although I think he looked all right outside of his first over today in the power play that got smashed at every single corner of the ground. I think he came back a little bit and managed to pick up that wicket of Dinesh Karthik as well today.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I thought that
again,
was a bit of a gift,
it's a long
but
tournament.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a long tournament, and again, we'll see how it goes. On the other side of the spectrum, in terms of small price tags, I've been impressed with two young players today from Mumbai who both made their debut in Nahal Wadhera and Arshad Khan. I thought they both played really well for it being their first IPL match. And I think it's a testament to the Mumbai scouts and how well they've done to pick up these two guys. I think Nahal Wadhera, he was one of the obviously aside from Tilak Varma, one of the lights in that comeback, because it was that partnership that really got them back into the game. I mean, Tilak Varma was the aggressor in that example, but I mean, he still struck at 161, so he wasn't a slouch, and he was giving it some. And the fact that he ended up carded above Tim David, I think, speaks for how good he was. And then I thought Arshad Khan, even though he got taken to pieces a bit later on by Virat Kohli and Maxwell, I think in his first spell he was really good, and he really, I thought, cramped up both after he bowled his 4 leg side wides or 3 leg side wides. I think he really started cramping up Kohli and Faf. So I think he's a very promising player, almost replacing that Bumrah quick bowler role.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you can't fully replace Bumrah,
Well,
but
yeah.
he's their option. He's the next best thing for them, isn't he? Yeah, I absolutely agree. Tilak Varma, absolutely outstanding, like incredible hitting. And like we said with the first game, it was as if they were playing on two different tracks. Do you know what time it is, Benji? It's time to put King
What time is
Kohli
it?
in the title of our video because Virat Kohli got an 82 not out of 49 balls.
Yeah,
Him and Faf got what was the partnership they got?
148.
148 run partnership. Beautiful. If you're an RCB fan, that is a very, very good sight to see. Especially at the start of a tournament. Virat Kohli to be in the runs, not out, start of a tournament, he's feeling it. And as soon as Kohli gets in form, it's hard to stop them. So at the moment, Kohli, yeah, I'd be very excited if I was an RCB fan. But
yeah,
to make such light work of what turned out to be a meager total, but what should have been a relatively fighting total, like it was shambolic, if I'm honest, for RCB to let Mumbai get 171 runs.
yeah, I agree.
That shouldn't have happened. It was very poor death bowling, but for RCB to chase that down in only 16.2 overs is unbelievable. And Faf, has to be said, played brilliantly. He
Yeah.
was. I feel like they complemented each other very nicely. They're both players that you want in a chase because they will pace their innings. So if you're setting a total first up and they don't know what the pitch is doing, they might score a bit too slowly. But if they're chasing, they know exactly what they need to get. You're unlikely to come into many problems if they're still in by the 10th over. They are just so good. What did you think of Glenn Maxwell's finishing effort?
I've just started to yawn, so sorry
Was
about
it that boring? Two sixes. I don't
No,
care.
no, I think it was the opposite of that. I think he just came out and smoked it, didn't he? Like
Yeah.
striking at 400, like it was a brilliant innings. I think just finishing the game off in as quick as he can. Yeah, I mean Maxwell's class, isn't he? He does what we know he can do, and what it has showed to me today is that it's not really exposed the RCB middle order much today, because Kohli and Faf performed so well. I think we are yet to see how that middle order is going to go for RCB. A middle order that is relatively short. I think Harsha Patel was carded at 7, I think, today, which is about 3 spots too high for Harsha Patel. But the rest of the side being, Akash Deep, Reece Topley, Mohammad Siraj and Khan Sharma are all absolute rabbits. Fortunately, RCB didn't have to use their impact sub today, so they're hiding back some level of tactics to see who they want to do. And it's interesting because I think we've had a C&Q about how RCB are going to use the impact player the impact player rule, James.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you got that?
I do. So ONT did say, how do you think RCB in particular is going to use the impact player rule? And of all of the teams, I think RCB is going to they're the one that doesn't need it because they've got a really balanced side. But I think if they can get a death bowler in, I don't know who fits in as their star death bowler, because obviously got Harsha Patel, who has been a proven death bowler for a while. But now that they've lost Reece Topley, who looks like he's injured his shoulder, and they don't have Josh Hazlewood, so they're going to play David Willey. Is that your death bowling option? I hope not. And then Akash D, Mohammad Siraj, all kind of maybes. So I think if they can find a good death bowling option, that would be where I'd go with the impact player rule. Also, I guess if you've got you've got Mohammad Siraj and Akash Deep in the power play, you could potentially go for one more specialist power play bowler, to kind of give yourself the best chance of wickets up front. But looking at their performance, I think of any team, they need the impact player rule the least. Now we do have another C&Q.
I think. Oh yeah, go on then. Yeah.
Which is because obviously you're a premium death bowler, and we'll be seeing it at the IPL someday soon, I'm sure. So Cap 26803 asked, why these days do bowlers not bowl Yorkers as much as they used to? Are there any factual reasons?
I don't know, because for me, nothing is better than nailing a Yorker as a death bowler. Now, we've seen a few players over time. I'm thinking of DJ Bravo. I'm thinking of Chris Jordan, who is renowned for being able to hit that Yorker every single time. Harsh Patel over time as well. However, when we're talking about them, James pulled that face when I said about Chris Jordan hitting that Yorker every single time. That was his main skill as a death bowler. But Chris Jordan, these days, is not a good death bowler.
Yeah, well,
we see that over and over again, him getting smashed around.
Yeah, I do have a running theory that I will back up with stats one day, that Chris Jordan has never actually been a very good death bowler. But that's okay. That's for another day. That's for another video.
That's by the by. But there are players who are renowned for being able to hit their Yorker time and time again. And I think as a death bowler, there isn't many shots that you can play. I think with the prominence now of more inventive shots, the ramp, the paddle sweep, that those type of shots actually, or even just chucking your bat down, doing a type of nutmeg type of thing. Those are the type of deliveries that actually get Yorkers away now. And it means that Yorkers, because they're generally pace on, will be able to be hit. Harsh Patel, Mohammad Sirajudeh bowled a lot of wide deliveries in that over, and I think one or two of them he was attempting to bowl a wide Yorker outside the off stump, which again is a great delivery because you can't hit it. If it hits that wide line and it's bang on, it's a really difficult thing to hit. With a Yorker, though, I think these days it's a much less safe option. And I'm saying that because if you miss your Yorker by a few yards, if it's too full, it's a low full toss, or if it's too short, it falls nicely in the slot. And in today's game, that just gets smashed for a 6 by most players, let's be honest, these days. So I think what players are going to now is more pace off cutters, your slower ball bouncers, trying to get a bit more creative, back of the hand slow balls, that type of thing in the death, because those are the type of balls that are harder to get away, especially with the longer boundaries that we see. When you have that pace off, you just can't get the ball away, which means that they have to generate all the pace as the batter, which means that you go to miss hit it and it can lead to a wicket. So that's why I think we've seen Yorkers fall off recently. That being said, there's nothing that pleases me more than seeing an absolute nailed-on Yorker cleaning out some stumps. Yeah, it's very pleasing.
I'm 100% with you. I think you're absolutely right in that the Yorker, and I think this is what Cap was getting at, that the Yorker is the best death bowling ball. Without a doubt, if you can nail a Yorker 6 times out of 6, absolutely bowl Yorkers every time. And that's what Natarajan does quite a lot. But if you can't, it's the innovation of batters that has kind of seen the downfall of the Yorker attempted.
Yeah, attemption. Great word.
Whatever. The amount of times that the Yorker is attempted, because the ramp is used so much more now, and quite liberally, that if it's a low full toss, brilliant. That's nice and easy for me to ramp. If it's in the slot, I'm either going to slog it or I'm going to ramp it. If you've nailed the Yorker, I could still get it away. So it is a far riskier shot now, and there is greater scope for error if you're bowling shorter with a cutter, like a slower ball bouncer or something. Your margin for error in length is far greater than if you're bowling a Yorker, and I think that's the exact reason. It's it's risk versus reward. So
I think what we see with the best death bowlers now is that they have the ability to use all these tools. And I think like someone like Sam Curran is becoming a very good death bowler in that he's got the slow ball bouncer, he's got the back of the hand, he's got all of these different tools to his disposal. And I think that's what the modern day death bowler has to have. I've been working on my back of the hand slow ball over the winter net, so we'll see how that goes during the upcoming NCBC season. But that'll
there will be some GoPro videos, don't you worry. But I think that's the perfect place to end. Thank you so much for watching. We will be doing more IPL content as we go forward. If you haven't already, join our county championship fantasy league, as well as the IPL one that's down in the description below. Benji's just remembered to join the county championship league. It will be in the description. So thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends about us. Follow our social medias. It's all in the link tree, again, in the description. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.